In 2004, Johnny Depp bought a 45-acre island in the Bahamas for $3.6 million. Named each beach after someone he loved, called it Paradise. 12 years later, he sold it. Not because he wanted to, because the island was bleeding him dry. A private island is not a purchase. It is a logistics operation with a beach attached, and the bills don't pause when you leave. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly why owning one might be the most expensive way to feel trapped. Here's the part that fools everyone. Private islands are surprisingly affordable to buy. A small, undeveloped island in the Bahamas can list for $500,000 to $2 million. Mid-size with basic infrastructure in the Caribbean, $5 to $15 million. Even a fully developed luxury estate rarely breaks $100 million. A penthouse in Manhattan costs more than most islands on Earth, which is exactly why people fall for it. The purchase price is the bait. It's the number that goes in the headline. Buying an undeveloped island is like buying an empty field in the middle of the ocean, then being handed a bill for everything civilization normally provides for free. The purchase price is the cover charge. Nobody reads the actual invoice until they've already signed. And the invoice? It starts before a single wall goes up. Because before you can put a chair on that beach, you have to build an entire civilization from scratch. And civilization cost a lot more than the island did. Start with water. You're surrounded by it. You can't drink any of it. Every private island needs a desalination system. Installation runs $30,000 to $100,000. Annual maintenance, $10,000 to $15,000. And if it breaks, you don't have reduced water pressure. You have no water at all. Congratulations! You own a $10 million island with no running water. Power. There's no grid. Solar arrays run $50,000 to $200,000, and you still need diesel generators for storms and after dark. Fuel arrives by barge. If seas are rough, the delivery doesn't come. Your freezer stops. Your security goes dark. Your desalination plant shuts down. One bad weather week and your $10 million paradise becomes uninhabitable. Then a commercial dock, functional enough to handle cargo barges. $75,000 minimum. Sewage treatment. $50,000 to $150,000. Satellite internet. $5,000 to $15,000. And salt spray eats the dish on a schedule that would make your accountant cry. Desalination. $30,000 to $100,000. Solar plus generators. $50,000 to $200,000. Dock and access. $75,000 plus sewage treatment. $50,000 to $150,000. Satellite internet. $5,000 to $15,000. Freight premium on materials, plus 30% to plus 200%. And we haven't built the house yet. Construction on an island runs 30 to 200% above mainland prices. A house that costs $500,000 in Florida costs $800,000 to $1.5 million on an island, because every nail, every pipe, every bag of cement arrives by boat. But here's the part that actually keeps island owners up at night. All of this corrodes, cracks, and rots constantly. Salt air destroys everything. Tropical storms damage everything. The standard 1 to 2% annual maintenance rule for mainland homes? On an island, it's 3 to 5%, because every repair requires a specialist who travels by boat and charges like it. And that specialist has a very full calendar. If you think that sounds manageable for someone with real money, David Copperfield spent $50 million on his island. Ask him what happened when a pipe broke. In 2006, David Copperfield paid $50 million for 11 islands in the Bahamas and turned Musha Cay into a private resort. Celebrity guests have included Oprah, John Travolta, and Google co-founder Sergey Brin, who held his wedding there. Nightly rate for guests, reportedly $57,000. From the outside, it looks like the ultimate expression of wealth. From the inside, Copperfield has described a broken pipe as a headache, requiring a chartered plane just to keep the water running. A $200 mainland plumbing call becomes a $5,000 event when it involves a chartered flight, a specialist flown in, accommodation on the island, and an emergency premium. And this is Copperfield. He has the staff, the infrastructure, and the budget to do it properly. For the owners who don't, The decay starts within months. Mel Gibson bought Mago Island in Fiji for roughly $15 million. 5,400 acres. One of the largest privately owned islands in the South Pacific. He planned to leave most of it in its natural state, which sounds romantic until you see the annual quote. Caretaking and basic vegetation control on 5,400 tropical acres costs an estimated $200,000 to $400,000 per year. For an island Gibson reportedly visits a few weeks annually, that works out to roughly $20,000 per day of actual use. The island doesn't wait for you. It starts reclaiming itself the moment you leave. That's just the maintenance on the land itself. What comes every single year, whether you're there or not, is the part that actually destroys people financially. And the numbers are worse than you think. Once the island is built, the real financial damage begins. Staff. A basic island needs a minimum crew. Property manager, maintenance tech, groundskeeper, security. In the Caribbean, that's $250,000 to $500,000 per year. A larger estate with a chef, boat crew, and full security detail? Over $1 million, just in payroll. For a place you'll visit maybe 10 weeks a year. But the gut punch is insurance. Standard homeowners insurance doesn't touch private islands. You need specialist high net worth carriers. Annual premiums run $50,000 to $300,000. After a bad storm season, some carriers pull out entirely. Same thing that happened in California wildfire zones. Except on an island, there's no state insurer of last resort. You're covered or you're completely exposed. When a hurricane does hit, every contractor, material, and piece of equipment arrives by barge at storm season prices. A $100,000 roof repair on the mainland becomes $300,000 on an island. And while you wait for the rebuild, the bills don't pause. Staff still need paying. Generator still needs fuel. Desalination still needs to run. Staff. $250,000 to $500,000. Insurance. $50,000 to $300,000. Fuel and power. $50,000 to $120,000. Water systems. $15,000 to $30,000. Dock and boat maintenance. $30,000 to $75,000. General maintenance. 3 to 5%. $150,000 to $500,000. Satellite and communications. $10,000 to $20,000. Food and supply logistics. $50,000 to $100,000. That's $50,000 to $137,000 a month. Whether you're on the island or watching Netflix in your apartment in Manhattan, the island doesn't know you're not there. It just keeps billing. And in case you're wondering if Caribbean tax residency saves you, run the maths. If your tax saving is $500,000 and the island costs $1.6 million a year to exist, you haven't saved anything. You've redirected money from the government to the ocean. The ocean doesn't send a thank you card. The people who actually benefit from Caribbean tax residency live in condos in Nassau, not on private islands. If you're finding this useful, subscribe. We break down the real cost of the things people think they want every single week. So we've seen what a $50,000 a month island does to the people who can afford it. But what happens when the money runs out while you still own it? Nicolas Cage earned over $150 million in his career. At his peak, he owned 15 homes, 2 castles, a private island, and a dinosaur skull he paid $276,000 for. That last one tells you everything you need to know about the general direction things were heading. By 2009, bankruptcy, $14 million in IRS tax liens, castles sold, cars sold, and the island, Leaf Cay and the Exumas couldn't be developed because it was home to an endangered subspecies of rock iguana. So Cage owned an island he couldn't build on, couldn't use, and could barely sell. But he still owned it, and owning it still cost money. The iguanas, it should be noted, were not contributing to the maintenance costs. That's the private island trap at its most absurd. An asset with near zero liquidity, a buyer pool that could fit in a conference room, and a meter running at $50,000 a month whether you're bankrupt or not. Cage never found his deep-pocketed buyer. He was stuck, and the island didn't care. Most island owners get a version of that ending, but every now and then, someone gets lucky, just not in the way you'd expect. Depp bought his island for $3.6 million, built solar infrastructure, then bought an $8 million yacht just to reach it, which cost $400,000 a month to maintain. To be clear, the yacht to get to the island cost more than the island. When his finances collapsed, $2 million in monthly spending draining $650 million in career earnings, the island was among the first things to go. He sold it in 2016, reportedly to J.K. Rowling, for $75 million. Depp got lucky. Massive appreciation, deep-pocketed buyer, right moment. It saved him. But the lesson here isn't the profit. The lesson is that for 12 years, he was one bad storm season, one insurance cancellation, one bad year away from the Cage ending. He just happened to find the exit door first. Most don't. The person who owns a private island pays $50,000 a month for a view they see 10 weeks a year. You can rent a beachfront villa for $5,000 a week. Get the same view, the same water, the same sunset, then walk away. No generator, no desalination, no insurance, no staff payroll, no hurricane rebuild fund. The island owner is paying for permanence, but permanence on a private island isn't freedom. It's a subscription to a logistics company that charges whether you show up or not. It's the same economics as the $6 million private jet and the $17,000 a day super yacht, condensed into a single piece of land you can't drive away from, can't sell quickly, and can't switch off. The smartest move most people will ever make isn't buying something extraordinary. It's knowing the difference between what's worth owning and what's worth renting. The island? Rent it. Every asset we've covered on this channel carries the same lesson. The purchase price is always the smallest number. The jet, the yacht, the mansion, the island, they all cost more to keep than to buy. But the island is the purest version of the trap, because at least with a mansion you can call a local plumber. On an island, you charter a plane. If you want to see the full breakdown on the private jet that costs $6 million a year just to sit in a hangar, that video is on screen now.